Thank you for taking some time for self-awareness. You are just fabulous because no one else knows you as well as you know yourself. Aware of the way you like to sit that can make you feel relaxed. Or the awareness that you have of knowing what types of deep breaths allow you to slow down. And I don't know if you want to close your eyes or take a mental vacation. And imagine someplace else, like a tropical beach, a cafe on a busy street, or somewhere else. But what I do know is sometimes we can find that sweet spot of deep relaxation. Perfect. Because sometimes in becoming aware of the comfort you can have within yourself, and we all know what self-awareness isn't. When a friend's reaction doesn't match the situation, or we find ourselves defensive when receiving feedback, or maybe you've observed someone doing the same thing over and over. They don't seem to get any better. And then there is a deep self-awareness, more than self-consciousness. We notice words we keep using all the time, like or wow or something else. Or through our self-exploration, we catch ourselves in patterns we like or rituals that serve us. Or we discover our own behaviours that are limiting to us. Or the spinning of emotions that we easily let go of before we fly off the handle. And then there are those things that go unchecked, somehow miss our internal self-assessment for years. Like that little voice in your head that might say, "You're not good enough." Or the things we value more, which have us spending more time with family than preparing a healthy meal. Or chatting on social media, which means you have to go and grab lunch on the go. And what is it that allows us to go really deep within ourselves? And catch those special moments of self-awareness. And sometimes you don't have to look very far into the future to realize something's got to change. And from anyone's perspective, the recruitment officer that asks candidates, "Oh, you don't have any weaknesses. I enjoy hiring people with no self-awareness." Or from the perspective of helping the next generation of Australian farmers wanting to enter the agricultural sector when the median age for farming is 49 years old. And only last year, 51 Australians completed their agricultural program. compared to 134 a few years prior. And what a relief it was to see the smiles on the faces of these young agpreneurs when they learnt the skills needed to prevent poor mental health. And when you begin to see a shift, not only how they felt about themselves, but the positive impact it could have on their loved ones and across the farming industry can be profound. Or from the perspective of self-awareness, that at different levels of consciousness can be described as intuitive or instinctive. And they don't always serve us. For example, you can imagine you won the lottery and you can distort the future by imagining that is now. And maybe while you've never experienced that feeling with your senses, the feeling of believing you've won the lottery can turn into an asset and make you feel good. Or it could become a liability to spend beyond your means. And you have this capability to stretch the boundaries of reality. And some say self-awareness is like a mirror that reflects the truest version of ourselves. But what if self-awareness was like a compass that guides us through life? And it reminds me of a story about 10 British commandos based in Hong Kong who decided to climb Mount Kinabalu in Borneo. I don't know if you've ever been to Borneo, where they have wild orangutans, tiny little pygmy elephants, and cheeky monkeys. But the tour guides will tell you the mountain is spiritual, and you can only hike the mountain with people who know it very well. But these military tech gurus had all the gear and the watches, the navigation systems. They didn't need anything from anyone. And they ended up trapped in a gully for a month, malnourished, lost, weak, exhausted, and were rescued. Sometimes we need to calibrate our true north, check and recheck our true north. And sometimes we can be so caught up about ourselves. We want to know how other people perceive our behavior, that we forget to be really present and be there for the other person. Or to show up to work and truly be there to help your colleagues with a kind smile, or listen to their grievances, or give the work time when they ask for it, or to rest and be healthy, to calibrate your body and mind, like the mark of graduations on a thermometer. Where do you need to be at right now? Little by little, moment by moment. And so the next time you find yourself having a cup of tea with a friend and your mind goes all deep in self-consciousness, and you start thinking what your friend might be thinking of you, and you decide to deliberately choose to pause and refocus on how you can be ever present and there for your friend. And you can say to yourself, I really like how I handled that. Or the next time you find yourself at the gym working out like a stressed maniac, and you deliberately decide to choose to pause and calibrate your healthy mind and body and spirit. And you can say to yourself, I really like what I did there. Or the next time you find yourself immersed in self-diagnosis of all the things you find wrong with yourself, and you deliberately choose to pause and calibrate a healthier version of yourself. And you can say, I like what I did there. I like how I handled that. And when you're ready to calibrate yourself back into the external world, you can stretch out, wriggle your fingers and toes, and open your eyes. Welcome back. You're perfect, just as you are.